last ban? Are they gonna go into the Alpha Suyo trade? Is ban on the shit? I'm feeling like it might be surprise high loss rush for Nepal because Cambodia can only get one of the other. If ever Alpha or Suyo is not banned here, Nepal can pick up the high loss and then just pick up what's left of the Alpha or the Suyo.
Would you pick Alpha or would you pick Suyo?
At this point, I would rather see my high loss paired up with an Alpha. But if the Suyo is what's left for Nepal later, if ever that's the route that they're going to be going for, why not?
Alright, it looks like Chip is going to be left open, ladies and gentlemen, again. Right, I think one of the matches we saw the Chip being banned out in the second phase instead, so it was completely ignored. I'm not really sure whether or not the Chip is actually in the mix when it comes down to the hero pools for both these teams. But if it is, it might be first pick here unless they, like Renmar Man mentioned earlier on, the Suyo and the Alpha trade.
Yeah, high loss Suyo, Alpha, Chip. Phobius is also still open. And Nepal's like weighing all their options right now. They know they cannot get this first pick wrong. So they go ahead and rush the Alpha. So for Cambodia, instead of getting the high loss, they might consider getting the Gatan Kacha. But again, I believe in a strong defense around the mid. I'd rather get high loss now as the Aurora's not going to be available for you. Might be susceptible. So you go high loss Suyo or high loss and...
I think you can leave Suyo for later.
Yeah, because I can go red 3 for sure. Oh, they go for the Gatan Kacha instead. I mean, they can try to get both the high loss and Gatan Kacha. You might even consider getting a mid laner because really right now I'm just looking at the invade, the possibility of Nepal if they get high loss and Alpha. So they get the Vexana. Not going to be as clear cut in terms of defending. Just a lot of pressure now on Nabi to get the Terrifies, the Eternal Guards once she gets level 4s correctly.
For sure, but it's also a really good, I would say, passive counter? Soft counter? If even Nepal want to go for the high loops here.
Yeah, exactly. It's soft. Like, you have the Terrify now. So I think it's confirmed. But Nepal love to play around the Melissa. That might be their main pick. And that's one of the reasons. And of course, high loss does go into Nepal's lineup, paired up with the Alpha as we've been pushing for. So for Cambodia, are you now going to get a gold laner? That might surprise this Melissa. They need a little bit stronger damage output. Okay, Hayabusa got the Kacha. For a good amount of Melissas, might be a little bit worried to go up against that. But the Vexana wanted to get a little bit close. Yeah, it's the gold lane matchup now that's so dire for Cambodia.
I have a question about interaction though here. With the go away that is available for the Melissa, does that protect against Shadow Kill as well as the Avatar of the Guardian?
Oh no, I mean once a Shadow Kill is locked in, you're still gonna get Shadow killed inside.
What about
Avatar
Avatar?
of Guardian, you're gonna get hit, but the moment the Gatan Kacha lands, he gets pushed out. So he won't be able to do that thing, the enhanced basic attacks or whatnot, but he'll be able to dive in and deal the damage. Some Melissas that I've seen use that up against the Gatan Kacha. That's why in your server, I find myself in the Indonesia server playing there when I paired up with the Melissa I usually played with, does not like the Gatan Kacha full magic damage build because Avatar of Guardian will still hit.
Okay, so the initial damage hits, but there is a layer of protection from the aftermath.
Yeah, from the aftermath, because you
Okay.
get pushed out right away.
So the Edith gets banned here by Cambodia, but my big question is how else are they going to try and protect this Melissa? They've locked in the high lows. Do they need some more degree of crowd control in their mix?
Oh, of course. I wouldn't want to see them go for a greedy mid laner. Whoa, okay, they can actually go high loss EXP and then Carmilla roam. So they'll have a Carmilla and another mage in the mid, distribute that damage, so it's going to be Carmilla Alpha. They can even go with the Sicilian locked out. Oh no, I'm leaning a bit more towards Tigreal and Strong Person High Control mid for Nepal.
Makes sense, it makes sense. We'll see whether or not it pops out, but for the moment, we'll see the Hilda being banned out by Cambodia. It makes sense, they want to be able to protect the Hayabusa, they want him to be able to have a good farming pattern in the early portion of the game, seeing as how we've seen the Hilda become one of the main ways to shut down an assassin. We've seen Tagami when she's given space, and so Tagami's space they will try to give. Nepal, on the other hand, with the 1-1 ban, is the 1-1 a good lane against the Melissa? Is that why it gets banned out alongside with the Claude?
Should be able to get out of the Muddle's range relatively well. I still feel like a good aggressive Melissa will be able to temper what the 1-1 wants to do in terms of avoiding her. But at the same time, I think they're going to be playing slow from the front. Also, one of the reasons why they took away the 1-1. I have a very crazy suggestion for Nepal if they're willing to play into it. It might mean a quick snowball, but hey, if you want your damage distributed well, you can do it. Carmilla's Cyclops. Okay, you have a good source of crowd control from the Carmilla and the Alpha together. The Cyclops will lock one down. In the late game, the damage distributed by the Curse of Blood plus a star magic, star power lockdown.
I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah.
We've seen even Team Indonesia pick up the Cyclops in the
Yeah.
mid lane, right?
Again, it's just a crazy suggestion. If they defaulted to Valentina, I wouldn't mind. Valentina Tig. If it's gonna be Carmilla, then you go for the big bursty type of mage.
And that would make sense, right? Valentina has a lot to take away from, right? We have the Charizla, you have the Vexana, you have the...
Whoa, there.
We have the Lilia as well as the Yuzon, I believe.
I do not remember the last time I casted the Black Dragon form of a Yuzon. Okay. So they get the Petrify. I think that's what they're looking for, another layer of crowd control. Dueling, I believe. She's confident to duel up against Rizla. Go there for Cambodia here. Needs something with reach. The tough thing is you can't go Leslie. You cannot. The carry might be a bit tough. You need to maximize the dash. I think she's gonna. Are you gonna default into her? No, you have the Lily and Melissa to deal with. Try to pull off a Beatrix, but then again, just think about the Petrify and then the presence of all the shadow energy on the floor. Bruno, I get it, but at the same time, oof.
I guess they're going back to comfort for Yui Fendi.
Yeah, could be Yui Fendi. They could have probably just went for, hey, Yui Fendi.
Who they're against. Nepal's lineup is not something you see technically every single day. I mean, it has been a minute, Mirko, since we've seen the old Yu Zhang come through. The staple pick before for the XP lane is now rocking that Warcry emblem and the Petrify. How do you feel about this?
I don't know, like you said, man, we haven't seen the Black Dragon and the Land of Dawn for such a long time, so I guess we'll just have to see with this game, right? If Nino can actually do it, can do well for Nepal here on the Yu Zhang, but there's something else that hasn't really been too common, the Melissa pick.
Oh, yeah?
It's been, I would say, a really good way to actually stop the Harith in lane itself, but in a lot of these skirmishes, because she's very reliant on Inspire and very reliant on, like, the single burst, technically, while you have that duration on Inspire on, it hasn't really been too prio. In more of the burst metas, I think the Melissas have been able to get more value, but here, Yui Fendi actually decided to go for the Bruno against the Melissa, and based on my personal experience, it is still actually favorable for the Melissa. If it's a 1v1 in this lane, 50-50, it's still, Melissa win. I would have definitely thought, something like a Moskov or a Claude could be the better answer towards the Melissa here in the lane itself. Something with a blink to just get away from the muddles. Yeah. But technically, Bruno has a way to deal with it. It's just, you need to slide tackle when she uses first skill.
Yeah.
You can't use the slide tackle before first skill, because then you can just,
then you're stuck.
You can just move the muddles to where you want it to be.
I guess that's why you have the Purify. Maybe that helps a little bit, but it's part of it too, where the panel was like, maybe it's also just some of the comfort. Yui Fendi obviously previously playing this Bruno here. One thing that I do notice too is Nepal's lineup should be able to do quite a bit of damage early on, just because even so with double Warcry emblem, now I know, mini control's not going to be there on the Melissa early on for all these fights, but later on, especially when you go in and when Yu Zhang was just prominent for so long, part of it was just, you go in, you get the Furious Dive off, you get a stun, you get a Petrify, and then that sets things up so well. Now imagine you can do that even easier now that you have a Glorious Pathway with you. You could be able to land the Spear of Alpha a little bit easier too here for Mao Mao, but they're going to start up the Turtle. We'll see if Cambodia can actually get in position for this. They're trying to find that window to actually initiate this. Tagami on the backside.
No penalty zone, and the Retribution comes in. A good Petrify and Furious Dive catches Tagami, and she's going to be forced to go with the Quad Shadow into the back again. Glorious Pathway disengaging for Nepal, and they're able to get the win on the first Turtle.
This is the power, Mirko, of Revitalize. This is why every single game that we see in right now in the current meta, you almost essentially have a one Revitalized for each side, but there has been instances where you have double, right? And a lot of the times you see these little first fights break out, these first skirmishes or team fights, and really it's who's able to go ahead and get that proper Revitalize and heal the multiple members that they're looking for. Now, part of that layering too is the fact that, you have Black Shoes here to be able to play into. And we know, Lilia hasn't popped up too often either, and I think she's still one of those maybe underrated heroes, right? Do you actually surprised at how much damage she can do? And then even so, when you're clumped up around the Revitalize, you're trying to play around that, or the Avatar of the Guardian, you almost have free range to just go ahead and pop off the blooms. What happens when she gets the Ice Queen wand? It's that even more difficult to go ahead and fight against.
It's going to be really, really tough, and you can already see how it's difficult for this Bruno to win out in the lane here with the muddle control. I think if it's just pure laning, Melissa has got to be one of the best heroes to sit there in the gold lane and win out the skirmish. So if you actually are looking for a weak side pick in the gold lane, that will certainly get you some dubs in the skirmishes and can actually even hold up 1v2. Go for the Melissa. It's a really underrated pick right now. And you can see in the mid lane too, I don't know, it seems like Cambodia have a lot of tempo on the map, but they just don't know what they are going to use it on, right? Because right now there's no neutral objective, and unfortunately for both these compositions, they're kind of built for neutral objectives. Thing is, if we talk about scaling game, if the game is truly this slow, we're probably looking at like a 15, 16 minute game.
Yeah.
Melissa's going to be a beast.
That's true. And we've seen so much of this just because of the fact that we haven't seen Melissa too much. Do you think she still goes Malefic Gun? Like, is this still a...
That's a good question.
Because she already has an advantage, technically, with the muddles with range, right? So then, how does that work if you do end up locking in Malefic Gun? Because so far, I would say the majority of the gold laners that we've seen, they actually pick it up. You know, the timing might be different, but essentially, they've all picked it up. Second turtle of the game is going to be the focus right now. Also, Tagami relying on the front line that they have here. Even the penalty zone can be enough to start things up. Well, right now, just a reset happening. Early Dragon Form going to be used. So that's burned out. They're going to go for it.
Good Tagami for Tagami right now. Let's see if the taunt is going to be there in time, and that's with the Spear of Alpha. Still Tagami bringing out the Red Tree battle, going back to Quad Shadow. They're all going to be clubbed up together as Uwe is unable to get the big taunt. Will charge it up again. It's just a neutral objective take. No kill on the board, and Ondatato will still be able to escape. Man, 0-0 in the first 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, man, it's those revitalizes. We've seen so many good setups, good flicker defensively. So Navi's going to be fine. But it's just, oh, hold on, this might be a kill here.
Yep, Moshi will be able to escape.
Johnson's not enough.
Not enough just yet. They're still going to be able to clear out the waves. And yeah, I guess we can take a look at the items here. It's a 600 gold lead actually for Melissa on the way to a golden staff second item.
This is a little uncanny. You know, for all the games that we've had on the stream so far for ISF, I can't even recall, even back for the MLBB Open men's, that we've had 6 minutes, no kills. You know, it's this is one of the games, like you said, where very objective base, and it seems to be that way. And also, it's not so that much that they're not trying to fight or trying to get the kills. It's just
Revitalize.
Honestly, the Revitalize has been it. I wish we had a total healing meter, because I'm sure it'd almost be relatively even between the two Revitalizes here for both sides. You can see that too. Good gold farming happening here, like we've mentioned, for mini control, just to go ahead and kind of keep that lane in the advantage in the gold. So that's already looking pretty much of a threat.
Yeah, big threat. AOG forced out. Revitalize too for Ondatato. An interesting Revitalize. Doesn't look like we're too far low of HP. Now muddle placement into the back with the Spear of Alpha 2 with no Avatar of Guardian will be taken down. First blood already. 6 minutes in, and that's 2 on the board. Yui Fendi falling as well. In the mid lane, a trade possible for Cambodia, but they're already on the way to the mid lane. I don't think they'll be able to take this down. Penalty zone to lock Nino down. It's also the Eternal Guard and the Curse Blast to take her down. But again, big resources utilized here. A turret up top falling for Nepal to take. It's traded with the bottom lane as Sagami has picked up another.
This is where you're showcasing some of that experience that this team from Cambodia obviously has, the shot calling that's being made. Even when you have that exchange happen on the top side, Tagami's able to push that tier 1 in. They get a pick-off kill in the jungle, and now they get an objective, right? Second turtle for them in favor, so 1-2 in turtles. Cambodia gets a small advantage, but Nepal's fighting. Like, they are really showing that they're willing to go ahead and fight, and I think they really are leaning hard into the fact that, yes, they have this Melissa, and when that Inspire is ready to go and unleash, their fighting potential is going to be great. I mean, even earlier on, Spear of Alpha is enough to go ahead and catch someone if they have to. But I think Cambodia also has to be very cautious on the timing of the Revitalize. This is such a major part in their lineup, in their idea and strategy in taking this game. So very small leads that we're looking at here. 8 minutes in, this is going to make it for a very interesting lore. Probably the most, just slow build-up that we've seen up execution. Both teams have so many tools to initiate or disengage. But I feel like if Cambodia doesn't lock down mini control, they're gonna have a really tough time with that fight.
If you don't lock down mini control, you're gonna lose control, right? Goes with it here, and I agree with you, man. Especially considering mini control is actually on the way to get that power spike relatively early in the game. Usually we would expect for Melissa to get it like by 10 minutes, 11 minutes even.
Yeah.
She should be actually getting it around 9 minutes here, considering she's just ahead of the curve when it comes to farm, a level ahead of Yui Fendi. He's actually positioning for a possible ambush on Datato, very low, does have to Revitalize still. The first blast comes in as well. Moshi is looking for the penalty zone, the OG connects, and also the penalty zone there. Mini control will be taken down under that turret. The curse blast into the go-away will be able to penetrate it down. Petrified defensively, Moshi still swinging a hammer down as Nino Echo is trying to desperately to get some space for Coffee to escape. Uwe will just sew him away. Lord will be spawning in the game, and it does look like Cambodia won't be rushing towards the Lord. They're just going to go for the turret first.
It's like Tagami might start it up, but obviously too, Nepal team members still around the corner. So all that, you know, for that tier 1 turret on the top side. But you saw that was the plan, Mirko, right? Just get mini control out of the picture and you're okay. They lose so much damage when Nepal loses mini control. So with that, they'll get in position. They played the map to their favor, Cambodia, working around the fact that tier 1 turrets down the bottom. It might force a fight here.
Early penalty zone, but also the glorious pathway. So it's a battle of resources, a trade of big ultimates. Both of them just hovering over the Lord, trying to go for that Lord dance.
They go for the Lord dance. They're going to keep it up. It's going to reset. They know they're down some crucial resources, too. Penalty zone still waiting here for Moshi. Once Moshi has that, they've got a couple options how Cambodia wants to approach the fight. They'll keep things cleared the best they can, but even so, you know, you're still looking at the fact that both roamers have that revitalized, trying to fight for control around this Lord pit. This is a great picture of how this entire game has gone for the past almost 11 minutes. There's the jump in.
AOG from Uwe, it's still on a mile though, and you can see that shred coming down, terrifying. Eternal Guard at the penalty zone from Mochi, locks 3 members down. It's Spy with the goal away. Tagami unable to get the shadow kill into them all, but now gets stunned down. The damage won't be enough just yet. Mini control will pick up the win of nature. You can see the health bars of Cambodia very, very low. Mini control and coffee still surviving. And Cambodia seems like they're still going to go for the Lord despite having this very low HP bar on Tagami.
She might be enough of a threat, I don't know, to stop this. She's going to get zoned out, though, by Yui Fendi. Yui Fendi?
Even with nature, Yui Fendi just solo kills her there. I think a bit of help from Nabi with the Curse Blast earlier, but Mini Control's got to understand that without the Inspire, it's not really that big of a threat.
Not that big of a threat. I was thinking, you know, if she would have been able to plant up at least with coffee there, then maybe they would have delayed the Lord, but unfortunately they just get taken out, and now Cambodia, momentum in their favor, waiting for that Lord to come up. They're going to be focusing on this tier 2. They'll clear out what they can.
Look at that Worldy just pow pow. Worldy bouncing over to these members of the Lord, man. Taken again. Cambodia have really just won out the objective game. We were talking about how slow the game was going, and obviously if you can get the objectives in a very slow game, this lead will still build up, and it's actually more dangerous than a game, a very aggressive game. But there are no shutdowns to be claimed here for the side of Nepal. There's only a shutdown for Nabi. It's a very hard target to actually go for. And Moshi's just zoning Mama. Wait, actually, this might be a kill. No. Spear of Alpha defensively. It's a tier 2 down below. A tier 2 up top taken by the Lord as well. They're going to work on this mid lane tier 2.
That's a crucial thing. Even if you can go ahead and just burn out a battle spell before the Lord makes it to the base, it's going to give you that minor advantage, and that's what Cambodia looks to do. Tier 1, finally the mid lane goes down. Slowly, Tagami was walking in with that Lord, and now the eyes set on the base turrets here. Taking quite a few shots, still being worked on all fronts. That top turret looks like it might go down. Tagami.
Oh, the bottom lane just assassinated. The Worldy's still just bouncing on them. They're still grouping up. 2 base turrets taken down. Cambodia are just assassinating, splitting them up.
I think maybe that's all they get. You know, Nino Echo's going to be up in about 15. They still have that wave pushing in mid, so they might look to fully expose the base at least, unless Cambodia plans to end the game here. So they're going to drop down the defense.
All on mini control. AOG coming down as well. Mama going to be caught, still able to sustain just a bit from the minion waves. Yui Fendi free hitting them. Coffee very, very low. Now mini control jumps in with the Inspire, and you can see that burst damage. And she pops into Winter Nature to survive. Mama still clearing the waves. They're able to survive now. Very late DHS. I think it's because she had to go for the Wind of Nature.
Yeah.
At this point, 3 base turrets down, Naisu. It's bleak.
It's bleak right now, and as you're looking at it, there's the item check. You know, you have Golden Staff, Crows and Scythe, and the
she
DHS.
sell Wind of Nature?
She's pretty sure she sold it because she bought it earlier on for that fight, and then once it procced, she sold it out. So it looks like she's going Rose Gold next. But man, this is, you know, you're delayed and you're falling behind further. You can see that she is the biggest damage dealer by a long shot for Nepal. And when that Inspire is available, you can see it, right? You get a really good preview of how Cambodia has to be very cautious when mini control is in control. And every single time that Inspire is available, you have that kind of smoking gun, if you will, and you're actually able to contest. I'm wondering if Nepal actually wants to go ahead and contest this Lord. They are going to get the information, but this is going to be started up so fast because Mao Mao's still on the bottom side. So what we might be seeing is Nepal just making the decision, you know what, guys, let's go ahead. Let's form up in the base, clear what we can. We still have good damage available to us. Again, they have a Lilia. We know Lilia can clear waves pretty well, but part of it still is how well can they defend with their backs against the wall, because right now this is a massive lead for Cambodia. They'll try to catch up to what they can, but they don't have that much time, as Lord will now make the way down the mid. This is a big pickup too for Nabi. Nabi's plan here with the Winter Crown is probably just to go ahead and drop the Eternal Guard, flicker forward, get a stun if they can, and then just kind of be that sacrifice where they're going to focus here. Finally, the Rose Gold is picked up. Lord makes its way into the base. We'll see if Nepal can have a defense. Already taking a couple shots here.
All right, Hylo's very low. Mauma already taken very low too there. Worldy not used just yet. The Black Dragon form already with the penalty zone, locking them down at the back as well. It's Mini Control who will fall, and Yui Fendi is just wreaking havoc. This defense will not happen for Nepal. It'll be Cambodia to take the game in the 15th minute.
It was a long shot for Nepal to be able to defend against that kind of deficit they were working against. Items locked in, great synergy coming out from Cambodia, especially the back-to-back games that they've showed us here. And really, I was hoping that Melissa would be able to pop.
I think